Tour.
One second, Ben. One second. You've done
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the impromptu. Well, it's not impromptu. Welcome back to Ask Us Anything on Tottenham On Tour with myself, Mr. Daigle himself, and we will be joined by the return of Mr. Brian Ireland himself. How are you doing today, Brian? That was a shocking intro, but we got there.
Just as the theme tune was playing, my mum came in and asked for my cup of chicken that I had my chicken soup in. So she very quickly asked for that at the wrong time, so I had to rush and get it. So yeah, that was unexpected, but yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay. How are you, Ben?
Doing all right. It's been a long day. We're still hobbling along, but we're back on the show that everyone likes. The show that everyone likes, our current show, Ask Us Anything, where you control the conversation. So we are here. We'll be asking your questions. So ask us anything. Ask us anything. The only thing we do ask you is please do not make it political. Let's all have a laugh. If you've got any Christmas conversations, your favourite Christmas movies, if you want to talk about Tottenham, I guess we have to on a Tottenham show, but ask us anything that isn't too difficult, and we're going to have fun. So we're looking forward to it.
Exactly. Talking of, did you watch it yesterday?
Nah, couldn't be asked. I watched We Are Tottenham TV with Mr. Daigle and Mr. Tritios. I watched that. I couldn't be asked to watch that. Stop that.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun, actually. It's my first watch along. We still actually had quite a laugh, but the first half was really entertaining. The second half was just
crap,
so boring. Oh mate, crap would be an understatement to everyone. So excuse me, as Ben said, with the questions, non-political, but make sure you try and put at TOT at the beginning so we can see it. Obviously, super chats will get answers firstly. If you're in a place where you want to put a super chat in, your question will go to the head of the queue. So yeah, how is it? What have you been up to in the coffee house today, Ben? Whilst we wait for the questions to come in.
Nothing much really. We have sorted through the rest of our Christmas orders. I don't know if we'll get any tomorrow, but there is still an opportunity. You won't get your coffee by Christmas now if you order online. Unfortunately not. But you still have a chance to visit us at 8 The Broadway, Woodford Green, for your Christmas fix. We are still here. And we're just chilling out, really. It's about that time. We got to put our feet up. Exactly.
It is that time. It's come around so quickly, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I remember Christmas last year. It's just absolutely flown by. But yeah, any Tottenham news today? I've been asleep most of it.
Nah. Is there a new 4x4 we got to talk about?
No, nothing.
Any new hand soap?
No, we got new 4x4.
Oh my god!
There he is.
What's going on, people?
How are you, brother?
I'm good, folks. I'm good. It's good to be back. It's been a long time coming. I want to apologize to everybody who's watching and to you guys in particular, but just back here. And my internet is struggling, and so I wasn't when we first did, but I'm here now and looking forward to the chat and looking forward to chatting, catching up with everybody in the chat as well. So.
How is everything in Canada, Brian? What's the weather like back home?
Fucking cold, mate. We're about to get a ridiculous storm that's going to basically ruin the travel for everybody's holidays across actually the whole continent. It's going to be across the U.S. as well as Canada. So it's going to be a hard weekend. Sadly, I don't have to travel very far myself, so I'm okay. But for a lot of people, it's going to be difficult. Yeah.
There we go. So we're waiting for questions coming. I can see there's one from Ellie. But we'll wait for a few more questions to come. Yeah, we'll wait for a few more questions to come in. Brian, what have you made it?
Let's see who's in the chat.
Yeah, do that.
Whilst we're talking. But firstly, big up Frank Last. Thank you for joining us.
Big up, Frank.
They've come to. Oh, that's a question as well. I'm going to star that. We can star that. We can star that as well. We will answer that later. Good afternoon, Jay. Good afternoon, Five Guys. Five Guys, and you are. Big up, Carl. Hopefully you're well. Big up, Rob Belcher. Lovely to see you as always. Shalom, Achi, Amir, Achi, I combined Achi and Amir. Achi,
Nice.
that's his new name. Big up Amir. Big up to Daniel Sandoval. Big up to Ellie, to Chica, Lisa. Big up Mr. Clarkey. Big up Adam.
Lisa.
I am back, sir.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Big up Colin. Big up Mr. Andrew Gregory. Big up Mr. Graham Levine. Big up. Big up Graham, sir. Hopefully you're well. And he's adding another one. But yeah, how's everyone's Christmas period been so far? Even though Christmas hasn't happened yet.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Hanukkah has started though, so you guys could speak to that. As far as Christmas is concerned, it's just sort of seeing some family, and I've had a few events that happen typically around this time of year with work and stuff, but it's been pretty tame so far, and yeah, I'm hoping it stays tame. I doubt it will, but I'm hoping it does, because Christmas can get a little crazy at times, and I was looking forward to like the January afterwards where there's nothing going on, and I'm just like, okay, I can just chill then. So I'm looking forward to that. But it's been pretty good so far. How about you guys with Hanukkah? What day are you guys on at this point?
We are on day number 4.
Sunday.
Start
on Sunday. Okay, yeah, I think I saw one of you guys post something about it. So I don't know the specifics, but how's that going so far for you lads? Anything happening?
I hobbled along to my local town's Hanukkah lighting, which I had to go to because my dad provided it for people. So I went there and I spoke to the rabbi and to people of the local community. I saw some people that are involved in Tottenham, so I made sure I shouted the 2 famous words at them every single time. And I gave them the drive-by, leave it out, leave it out, leave it out, leave it out. Just made sure that they understand where I'm coming from. But it's always fun to be at the Hanukkah lighting. Love latkes, love having hot chocolates. It's always fun. It's always really fun to be there, and it's good to be part of the community for once. So it's a silly festival, but oh well, it's a good one.
It sounds fun.
Well, you say that on Sunday, on Christmas Day, as it's the last night. My sister, who is part of she's part of the admins of the local synagogue. They're having a last day Hanukkah fair on Christmas Day, and it's going to be at the synagogue in the evening with all arts and crafts and everything for the kids. And somehow I've been roped into manning one of the arts and crafts stall. So God knows how that's going to turn out.
Daigle and arts and crafts. That sounds like an absolute disaster.
I know. What are you making exactly there, Daigle?
I don't know. There's different things like that. There's face painting. There's always good. Thanks, Dad. Yes, I'll stop vaping. Thank you. It's always good to get picked up by you.
What's up, Gary?
When you're vaping
good to see.
Big up, Mr.
Dave. Good to see your dad on there, man.
Yeah, good to see him home. He's had a rough few weeks, but he's getting there, thank God. But yeah, so I think there's donut making, there's face painting, menorah making up, which I don't understand on the last day, and other things. And apparently, I'm going to be one of these tables. So I can't face paint.
Yeah, you should figure out which one you can like turn into a Levy Out Fest somehow, like just painting
Yeah, I could try and do it. I can get people. I can do that. I can show kids how to do this with like finger puppets.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So
love it.
So I got that, and then it's just been mad. You think about it. This time last year I came back because of Bob. This year I was back, but obviously what happened with Dad has happened. So it's just been a crazy build up to the last couple of Christmases. But at least we're here. Everyone is good and healthy, and looking forward to some fun. And obviously Tottenham about Brian. What have you been making a Tottenham? I haven't spoken for so long, Brian. What have you?
I know there's a lot to talk about. I have been keeping myself up to snuff as far as what's going on. Obviously, the article last week that everybody shit their bed about. You know how I typically look at these situations, and I'm going to look at it the same as I usually do, which is as pragmatic as possible. These articles always come out at this time of year. Always are going to try to growth up that are controversial, that are good for the club or good for Conte, who's writing them, and whether or not we should trust them is always a question. And I'm always going to leave myself open to waiting to see what happens in the window, because I do think it is going to be an interesting window. I think it's going to be similar to what we saw last year, in that they're going to look for transfers that aren't super expensive, but transfers that will help the squad. And hopefully we have a similar January to what we had last January, because obviously we all know that two of the most important players in our team currently are from what happened last January. So the team the club did a very good job last January, and it could have been luck, but I hope that we get lucky again, or that we get a similar sort of scenario happening. I don't expect us to spend a ton of money. I think this idea that we're going to fill the positions that we need filling, the center back, that right wing back, maybe we get lucky and we bring somebody in for that, but I don't see that happening until the summer. So I think we should just be next to it and try to enjoy Arsenal falling from spot. It takes getting like third or fourth, and that's likely how the league will go for the rest of the season. I feel positive, man. I feel positive. I'm not freaking out. I'm also not like completely blind to the fact that it could get messy. But I'd rather just enjoy that club football's back and that the World Cup is over.
I like how you wraps it up. Messi and then put the World Cup in. That's a great pattern. I respect it.
Messi and World Cup. I'm glad you caught it. I was. I don't even think that wasn't intentional, but I was totally accidental.
Yeah,
but yeah. Guys, just very quickly, I think my internet is playing up, so I'm just going to restart my computer or tablet, and I'll come straight back in. So give me 5 minutes. I'll be right back.
No problem, Brian.
All right, sounds good.
Right. Yes. Please.
So how do you feel about the situation then, Benson? So I've sort of seen you speak about it a little bit, but I love a little down on, you did that article freak you out? You a bit like me, a bit more relaxed and pragmatic to wait and see what happens, or what are your thoughts?
I mean, it's in the words of Bob, it's all bollocks until we see someone hold up a shirt. So we need to, instead of panicking, we need to wait until the end of January. The moment February 1st comes in and we've got all the information, that's when we pounce with the news. That's when we know if
that's how I feel.
Journalists are knowing what they're talking about. Because at the end of the day, journalists are a mouthpiece. They're not the club. They're not the board. So they can come up with these wild theories and all these things that we're going to get this person to get that person, or we've got no money. Until we've actually seen what the club have done, it's just all hot air.
Yeah. So you just said, well, according in regards to what Bob said, and this is sort of how I position it when it comes to whether the shirt is being held up, whether the journalist story have come with been proven to be true. Otherwise, why believe it? And why I see the meltdown across the board from a lot of Spurs supporters, including probably some on this channel and some on other channels, friends of ours, who are freaking out, right? And for me, I'm a bit like, what if you're going to wait for the shirt to be held up to believe whether a transfer is true? You not wait until the proof has been held up to believe whether an article is true, because the journalists are probably worse at it than the club is. The club rarely tells us one thing and the other thing happens when it comes to a transfer being a done deal. It's either a done deal when you see that thing on the Twitter post where the club says we have signed and thank you, or somebody's left and thank you for your services. That's generally what you have to go by, and I think you can apply that sort of standard to both the journalism and the club, and not either as being honest on it. And I think the club, as much as we like a lot of how they function, are probably more accurate when it comes to whether or not something's true, even if you don't like what they're doing. So I feel like a lot of this media stuff is just it's good for the parties who are in a conversation, in negotiations. It's good for them because they can use it as a way of getting the things that they want. Particularly with Antonio Conte, he does it a lot. So he's done it at every club he's been at. So I find it odd. I find it odd that everybody's it melts down as soon as the season starts again. Too post World Cup, it's like, oh god, I don't get it. But
it's that usual thing though. What are journalists' main priorities? To sell papers. What's going to sell more papers and more clicks? Fairly reasonable article, or at the end of the world, as in like it's just Ghostbusters, the end of the world. Are you going to tell us the ending, or do we have to buy the book? It's just like, but so they make the most. It's all clickbait. So even the ones that might have the club's best interest at heart, being Tottenham fans and whatnot, they've still got to do their job and sell articles.
Yeah,
and
you can always tell by how they're worded as well. Antonio Conte has not quite necessarily yet. You can hear all these sort of weasel words to put in between whether or not there's a statement been from the club or whether Antonio Conte is as he actually said the things that he's been purported to have said. It's almost always some sort of weasel word in there to make it seem like it's something that it isn't. And then of course once that ends up on Twitter, the meltdown begins and everybody starts losing their shit. So I kind of laugh at it. Especially since I had such a break from being involved on the channel and just watching as much YouTube. I just haven't had time to do it. When I started to sort of see it again from I would say perspective, being in love it as much as it was before, it's been easy to see that we're kind of on our shit quite a bit for no good reason, and we should just chill the fuck out. Probably.
Should we? We need to. We probably just need to sit down and just let's all take a chill pill, and let's all decide what is. Let's all let's wait and see where the dice rolls before the dice is even thrown. They've not thrown. Exactly. They've not even thrown the dice, and we're all like, "Oh no, there's panic stations." But we'll see. But of course, this is through 22 years of being let down by the football club. So it's no wonder why
there's reason for it, which I get. Like I understand the frustration. Brian and I have spoken about it a lot, and his experience with it is probably different than mine, of course, because of being right there and having been able to follow the club for as long as he has. But it is the funny. It's the direction. I'd like to see a little more reason from our fan base and just taking our time to how to understand what it is that we're reading and whether or not it's valuable, and save our freak out for the necessary time when it might mean something. Because if we do get through the window, or we do get to a scenario post this season and Conte is not with us anymore, and we then have a reason to freak out. But when we see one article from The Athletic that isn't necessarily true, it's a tough one to watch, and to watch all your friends freak out and be like, come on guys, just relax, have some fun. The football's about to start. We get to watch Spurs play again on Sunday or Saturday. So I'm looking forward to the football. That's the thing that I care about the most, is just watching the game and the tactics and the excitement of my club getting out and playing again. And that's what I'm excited about.
Absolutely. What's your take on this, Brian? The meltdown, the so-called meltdown that everyone's been having over the internet? Because should we hold back, or should we just go mental just as a laugh?
I'm excuse me. I'm actually where it's a bit of both. Listen, like I said, with the Athletic coming out what they're saying, do I think a lot of it could be speculation? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Do I think with Daniel Levy, there's no smoke without fire? There's that as well. Especially when apparently forget about what they're saying about money. I'm not talking about money. I'm not talking about transfers. It's just the amount of times Conte's happy. No, he's not. Conte wants to stay for ages. Oh, no, he may not. The board don't like him. Oh, no, half want Poch back. It's just, this is typical. Only at Tottenham does this happen. Only at Tottenham, and especially it just always seems to rear its ugly head around transfer window time. Every single time. Again, the club announcing another sponsor the day after. Their timing of these things just could not be worse if we tried. You got to remember last season, Daniel Levy got very, very, very excited, and he made a whole big thing of it, and Sky got hold of it. We were the first zero carbon footprint football match at a stadium. We were low emissions. We're using eco-friendly stuff for the cutlery and all this. Within a year, we're going to be sponsored by an oil guzzling pollution machine. It's just the nonsense that goes on. Only at this club can this happen.
I think, Brian, as much as I agree that that's absurd that they did that. I think it's completely nuts. But I think we, because we're involved in our own club, it's only could do. I probably in a different scenarios where there's other clubs have made similar PR errors on a regular basis. It's pretty common for any big company to make these types of mistakes, but it does go with the sort of Spursy tag, so it makes it a little bit worse, because it's kind of like, oh god, we've already got enough to deal with, you bastards. You have to make it harder,
You know what it is as well, Alan. You look at it now. That's official paint, official toiletries, official beds, official 4x4s. No naming rights. No,
what happened to that? The naming rights were on the cusp. We were about to Google, and then it
mate, I called it, and Ben will know it. I called it straight away. I said, listen, last time it was Amazon, and within a week that went quiet, and we got Amazon. We got Duuuuuu, and I said, give this a week, it will die down, and within a week, Spurs will mention new sponsors. And they did, in Molten Brown becoming the official, or renewing their contract as the official toiletries, which is everything you need for a football club. It's the timing of it, Brian. It's just the absolute timing of everything.
I will say though, Daigle, maybe a 4x4 will get us over the hill.
Oh, let's see what you did there, buddy. That was a good pun. I like it.
Listen, it's just embarrassing. It's just embarrassing that they're just always these sponsorship deals, always this, and it just goes back to the island. Do you remember everyone was doing at the time? But when we did that video of Levy's interview, and we broke it down in what he says and what he actually means. Well,
yeah.
I look at it, and with the you look at the style of football and the managers. We're going to go back to that attacking mantra and everything. We've had 3 defensive managers, and then that bit where he said every single penny that gets invested or comes into the club goes back into the team, and I just don't see it. I just don't see it. So we should have to wait and see. Listen, January, I'm not optimistic at all, whatsoever, not one little bit. But I'm going to be like I was in the summer. I'll have my say, but February the 1st is where I have my real say, and we'll see where we are. But I don't think we're going to be looking at a lot stronger than we are right now.
Yeah, I think it's be interesting. I think from a player perspective, as far as who we have and who will bring in, I expect probably 1, maybe 2 players to come in January. They won't be the key players that we need. I don't think we're going to get those until the summer, like that center half and that right wing back within the high level we want. I do think we see a different top in the new year, because I think he's been really careful about how he plays and particularly about how he plays, tactically speaking, not who he plays. I mean, partially who he plays, because it's been very repetitive as per the end of last season. But I think there's something to be said that there'll be the shackles will be taken off a little bit, because there's no World Cup to worry about. And I do think this last couple of weeks, there's been it's even in some of the things he said, there's a bit more trust in the squad. Then he's had some time to work with some of these younger players very directly that he hadn't had previously. So like the Papi Matasar, for instance, he came out and spoke about him and said that he was really pleased with what he saw and that he's really happy with his progression. And he was on the bench quite a bit the first half of the season. Maybe we'll start to see him integrated a little bit more. I think some of those players will come in, and I think the style of football will be a bit more kin to what happened at the end of last season rather than what we've seen at the beginning of this, because that world, he was very careful and trying to just prioritize staying top 4, trying to keep everybody as fit as possible, and then getting past that World Cup. And now I expect to now, I hope I could be wrong here, but I do expect that there will be a difference in the type of football we play. And I think he'll open up the team a little bit. Some of the other players that we didn't get to see will play a little bit more minutes.
Great stuff. So we now have 9.
We got questions.
Yeah,
we have 9 questions.
Let's
so we
start
can
this.
officially start. So if we want more of your questions answered, please prefix it with @TOT. It makes it easier for us to see them. And we'll go with Frank's one first, saying, morning from New Zealand, guys. If Conte goes, is Poch back, or who would you like? Go for it.
Go on, Ireland.
It's a bit.
I'm just struggling with this one. I as much as I love Poch, he's like he was a second father to me when he was at the club, even though he's younger than me. It would be great to have Poch back, but it's going backwards. And I feel like I think Brian has talked about this before, and I think I agree with him. And I think it's the wrong time to do it. I'd rather see Poch back when he's not dealing with what we're dealing with the board situation, and when he's going to be backed properly. If that's the case, because the board has finally opened their purse strings and they back Conte, and then 2 or 3 years down the road, Conte's moved on, and we bring him back then it makes a bit more sense. But Poch back now is just if that happens because having back Conte, and having back Conte, we completely fucked up. So who wants him into that job? Who is the sad part of that question from Frank. And thanks for the question, Frank. But the who part of it is the one that I don't know. I mean, there isn't anybody. Maybe does Thomas Tuchel come in and manage the squad, knowing that he's going to be in a very similar situation he was at Chelsea, where he wasn't getting backed by the board and by the ownership? Probably not. I think, I think it's grim if this is the case. I would be very, very upset, and it would be a difficult situation for the club to be in.
Go for it, Daigle.
Oh dear. So first of all, like Ireland says, I will have Pochettino in a heartbeat with new owners, owners, and he's going to get backed. I'd have him back all day long, to have his unfinished business that he keeps saying. Do you know what? If I was Poch and this was to happen, there's one way I keep saying to myself that I would get assurances that he's going to back me. I'd say, right, listen, I'm going to come back. You say you're going to back me. I'll only believe it if you send out a public apology to Paul Mitchell. You send out a public apology to Paul Mitchell, and then I'll believe you're going to back me, because you've got to try and call him and say, right, prove to me you're going to back me. And
guys, I'll be back in a sec. Sorry, I gotta bounce for one sec.
No worries. You know he's not gonna apologise. Not saying I'd want Paul Mitchell back because we got Paratici, but the thing for me, Frank, with this, when it comes to the who, I don't care. I don't care. The reason I say I don't care anymore, if Conte walks, is it doesn't matter who comes. It doesn't matter who comes. You could get the dream team of Pep and Klopp together.
Yeah,
they couldn't win the league or win a FA Cup or a Carabao Cup because there's someone upstairs that will undermine everything they try to do. And I actually think the Tottenham Hotspur job, if Conte goes, it's going to kind of become like the England job. It's going to be a poison chalice.
Yeah.
Who is going to want it? It's like you've had Poch, wonders, didn't get backed. You had Jose, we know what he needed, didn't get backed. Conte, we'll wait and see. Yol, he sacked at half-time. AVB, he didn't give the money for Gareth Bale and will do what he did. He did what Paul did. It doesn't matter who comes in anymore. It doesn't. If Conte was to leave, I care more about getting Levy out than I would getting Conte's replacement in. That's where I will focus, funnily enough, even more of my attention. What about you, Ben?
I totally agree. I love Poch's style of football, but you cannot. It'd be a worse situation with him because you've got the director. He don't have a director of football that suits his style of play or his philosophy of how he wants to build a team. You've got a director of football who likes to buy ready-made stars, sort of, in a way, even though he's not proven it so far. He's bought a few really good ready-made stars. But Paratici and Poch do not have a similar mindset. Paratici wants to play 3-5-2 or 3-4-3.
Yep.
Poch wants to play his style of football. It would be even more of a mess. It would just be, it would be the end. Unless we continue with this style of football, we've got to, it goes back with just scattergun approach again, destroying everything we've done and then starting again. So if we bring back Poch, it's the end. It is just the end, I think. And it's just another 5 years or so wasted. Or what is it, 3? So I don't think it would be a bad idea. But for who? I don't know. I really don't know. There are no managers that are really say, I want them to be the manager of my club. And all the ones that are, I've already got jobs.
Yeah.
That's basically where we are. It's where we are.
You
It's,
guys
it's
can hear
like
me?
having let's make this seasonal.
You guys can hear me okay,
It-
right?
It's like honestly,
Yeah,
the Tottenham.
perfect now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Can hear, I think we should we could have a Tottenham Hotspur manager advent calendar for the way we
Yeah.
go through managers. We've it's got to that point. So yeah, like we said, it's like literally Ireland. I don't know if you heard what I said. I was like, if Conte was to go, I don't even care who comes in anymore because it just doesn't matter.
It just
They'll just
seems
get
like
undermined.
there isn't much value of anybody at that point because it ends up being an absurd situation. You know, there's just no there's nobody's going to want to come in and who like you've done the best possible things you could by bringing in two of the best managers the last two times, and both of them have failed because you haven't backed them yet. You're firing them, or they're leaving because you don't want to back them. It's an absurd situation. I agree. I completely agree. It would be so stupid.
So there we go. We'll go on to the next one. I'll bring it up. It's from Ellie. Now this is for you as well, Ireland, because she did put add Ireland as well. Cool. This came in when you weren't here. So
right.
Good afternoon, lads. Brian and Ben, may I ask both of your favourite teacher at school was and what? Jesus Christ.
Okay. I already can answer that pretty quickly if you guys need to think about it. Yeah, so it's a tough one because it's hard to remember, but I had like every teacher of mine. I had two teachers that were good in my entire career in high school. And I had one teacher in college that was great as well. But Mr. McCullough was my grade 12 English teacher. And he was a storyteller. He was a musician. He was like an interesting person. And he was really interested in creativity and shit that I'm interested in. So he got me to think about things in a way that I hadn't done previous to that. And it actually got me to enjoy school and like in reading and learning and art and stuff and in a way that I hadn't previously. So yeah, he'll always have a memory for like getting me to where I am today because of it. So yeah, it was an easy one for me. Great guy. Mr. McCullough, if you're watching.
You got your one?
I can't remember what I had for dinner last night, let alone who my favourite teacher was in 20 but I had a few very good teachers. I really liked my Spanish teacher, who was amazingly actually the cousin of David Villa, the Spain striker, which is really funny. His name was Mr. Villa. He was David Villa's second cousin or something. He was always good. We always used to talk in Spanish about football. I hated my Hebrew teacher because all she did was talk in Hebrew to all the people that spoke Hebrew. So I didn't actually learn anything in those 2 years of GCSE Hebrew. Cheers, Miss Webber, Dick.
Funny, we remember the worst ones, right?
Yeah. I had a great science teacher called Mr. Addy. He was absolutely brilliant. He's just a lovely bloke. I wouldn't say any of them were that great. I enjoyed my sixth form business studies teacher because she just used to let me watch the telly whilst I did my coursework because it was all coursework and I was the only person in the class. So just chilled out. But I can't think of any of them which are that great, to be honest. But King Solomon was a vibe. So I'm just going to say they weren't terrible. They weren't terrible.
My God, this is a question for me. I wasn't the most academic, and near the end of my education, I was hardly there. So the only thing I can remember, actually, I'll say I actually had in primary school. I had a teacher who I got on okay with, but she used to take all my stuff that I used to play about with. She used to take the ruler and I was smashing it and flicking rubbers at everyone and doing everything like that. All the weird things I had. So when it came to parent teachers evening, this teacher had a go at my dad about my discipline and being distractive. And then it worked out that my dad went to school with her. And that they were very, very good friends. And then all of a sudden I became teacher's pet and I had all my things back. And so her name was Miss Micharova. And her husband was actually the Czechoslovakian goalkeeper for Czechoslovakia's national ice hockey team at the Olympics. Oh, nice. So I got to watch. Yeah, so it's how I first got into ice hockey, Brian. And then who would have thought I'd be in a certain country where hockey rules?
Yeah. For now, anyway.
It would have to be her. Okay. The next one, Andrew, big up, Andrew. We'll have to speak again very, very soon. favorite and why is it not bringing it up? There it is. Favorite and worst Christmas / let's say Hanukkah present.
Ooh.
Favorite and worst.
Ooh.
I mean, is this like in a general sense, or is this specifics? I guess you could do both. My favorite is always socks, especially in like the last 10 years or 15 years or so. As an adult, it's just nice to get stocked on socks and underwear. So you don't have to think about it. You get like 6 pair, 10 pair. You're like, all right, I'm good for the year. For the most part, I don't have to do it each year. That's my favorite to get. And also I like stockings because it comes with all that other shit that you like, deodorant and stuff that you hate buying because you're like, what do I need this for? All right, I stink. I need it. The worst Christmas present. I got to think about that one. You guys go with your favorite while I think about my worst.
Oh, I think my favorite Christmas present ever is when my dad got me my PS3 when the PS3 was a thing. That was an awesome present. That was I very much enjoyed my time on the PS3. And worst present.
This is a tough one because I never think presents are bad. It's just like it's a level of, will I ever use this fucking thing? Am I going to regift it? Probably, because I don't have any use for it, so I'll just give it away to somebody else. I mean, that's kind of what I would typically think, but it's a gift, right? So you're still like, thank you, it's really nice. I don't really have a worst per se, but I think the gift that is easily regiftable, something either you already have or something that is from like somebody's Pinterest board where they didn't have to do any work. They're like, oh, okay, here's a thing this guy will like. He likes hot sauce. Get him a bottle of Frank's.
There we go. So I'm going to go just as a kid. The first thing I think I'm going to say favorite Christmas present is I remember when I was a little kid and my parents got me Fog of the Time, the Paul Gascoigne single. They got me a Paul Gascoigne, one of the shell suits he wore. They got me a Paul Gascoigne video, Gazza the Real Me, and tickets to go see Spurs play with Gazza. So that's the first thing that comes to my mind when I think about Christmas and think of Christmas presents. As for the worst one, I can't even, that's going to take me a while to think.
It's a tough one, right? Because like I said,
I can't really. I think now everyone just gives gift cards, don't they? Go, I'm too lazy to buy anything, and I don't know what you like. Here you go, have a gift card.
I like a gift card though. Like that's not a bad present, so because that means I'm going to get something I like.
Yeah, I get that part, but I'm more of the. I like.
You're sentimental. I get it.
Yes, that's the exact word I would use. That's the exact word I would use. So Andrew, thank you for your question. The next one we got is Nick, Barry, Sean, Phil, Grant. They will put on a show for you. What is a jabroni? The jabroni is a word used by my man, Mr. Dwayne The Rock Johnson, and often used by KPV. So there's some education for you, Nick. I hope that answered your question.
Well, he wants to know what it is.
Lisa.
Wait. He wants to know what it is. What is?
It's a dumbass.
What is it?
It's a dumbass.
Oh, it's a dumbass. I didn't catch that part. A jabroni. Okay, yeah, that's a good one. I like it. Your best buddy.
Yeah, my slight obsession. Best childhood vacation you ever had, or best childhood memory?
Best vacation I ever had as a child probably would have been we went to Hilton Head Island in the Carolinas when I was living in Georgia. And I know this is very American, so this is gonna be a funny one for the Brits to hear about. Hilton Head Island was a little like vacation destination just off the coast in the Atlantic. Very beautiful spot. And I think we went there when I was about 10, and it's a memory that I hold dear. It's one of the reasons I love the beach. It's one of the reasons why that I love the heat. I love surfing. I love all those things. So it was a great trip. My family were happy and fun at the time and young and all that stuff. So at childhood vacation, I would say that. Childhood memory is different than that because there's many different memories. But you go first on the vacation one you ever had.
I can remember we always used to go every year to a hotel in Spain called the Pueblo. It was in Benidorm, and this hotel. Nice. This was like when we were. I think we went 3 years in a row, and I was like 8, 9, and 10, or maybe even a little bit younger. But there were like 4 different swimming pools, and they were huge. There was mini golf course. This hotel was like an amusement park. It was like Vegas, and it was just incredible. I actually want to go back and stay at the hotel, but I think they've renamed it, and I can't remember the exact location being that young. So yeah, my best childhood vacation was always that hotel with my parents and my sister.
Nice, that's a good one. Childhood memory. I think I've had a ton of good ones. I'm gonna put it relate it to football because I grew up playing football. Started playing at a very young age. Living in the U.S. And surprisingly, it was quite popular down there where I lived. And I have memories of playing in a tournament down there called the Greensboro Cup, I think it was. And Greensboro's in North Carolina. Carolinas are just north of Georgia where I lived. So we would travel quite a bit for football. And the club I played for was called Concord Football Club. They still exist in Georgia. They're one of the bigger clubs in the US, and they have a bunch of different levels that they play at. Me and my brothers all played at those levels. But I remember going to this tournament and we won the tournament. We were state champions, and we were I had a hand in winning the tournament and scoring a couple of big goals from midfield. And that sticks with me from a football perspective as one of my biggest memories in my childhood. And there's a bunch of those as well, like because I played a lot of football, but that one was kind of the first one I remember as a kid growing up playing that I'll always remember.
Ben, favorite holiday or favorite vacation or holiday? And
we did both, but you
memory?
can pick one or the other if you want.
Best childhood vacation, I would say, is my when I went to Disney World in 2006. It was just before the World Cup, so that was a lot of fun. I love Disney World. Everyone knows I'm a big fan of Disney for some idiotic reason. I have no idea why, but Disney's always got a special place in my heart. I always try and go to Disney as much as I can. Disney's always a lot of fun. Disney's
can I just
where you go and all your problems end. It's brilliant.
Yeah. I just want to interrupt quickly here. And Lisa, thank you for your question. Robert E. What the fuck? Okay, I guess I'll finish Ali Goat post. I guess that means he wants us to talk about football. Robert, just to let you know, hopefully you haven't left yet. If you still are here, get your question in and we'll read your comment or your question and we'll comment on it. And it can be about Spurs if you want to talk about Spurs. Some of the questions are not necessarily about Spurs. We answer, it's ask us anything for a reason. So if you want to ask us anything and you want it to be Spurs related, stay in the comments, ask us anything, we'll respond to you. We've got 9 questions in front of you. A lot of them are Spurs related, so we'll get to them. But sometimes we have little chats about favorite fucking Christmas vacations. So anyway,
exactly. And don't worry, we will be back with regular Tottenham content in the new year.
There are too many Spurs shows that only talk about Tottenham. How many of the same things can we talk about? Day in, day out, night in, day out.
Talking heads.
Afternoon out.
Yeah, exactly. So if you're in the comments and you're just getting here, get your comments in. We'll star them, we'll read them, we'll answer them. They can be Spurs related, or as you've seen, they can be anything about anything, and we'll respond to them because it's we're a community here. It's not necessarily just about only Spurs. It's Spurs and things that go along with it. So yeah, well, good evening, Kim. Good to see you.
Mary Poppins is in the building. Big up, Kim. So for that guy, we do have a Tottenham question.
There you go.
What realistic signings would you like to... that word realistic is the
it's a loaded question, man. It's a loaded question. I don't have any specific names because I don't know if you guys watch the World Cup, there's a lot of different players in the World Cup. You could say, ooh, that guy. Most of the players that were in the World Cup or that other than Hakimi, are players in positions that I don't think we need to address. There are a lot of midfielders who did really well, some players, some forwards who did really well. But again, we have a lot of that already. We need center halves. There was a few that stuck out to me. I thought Saiss was quite good. The other guy who plays next to him for Morocco, whose name I can't remember, who got injured. I think it was their captain. He's quite good. So there's a couple of those players that could come in. That right wing back position, though, there's not a lot. There wasn't a lot that happened in the summer, in the World Cup that would be available for us to acquire in the January window. Despite me wanting to, I'd love to get Hakimi, but yeah, I don't think that's ever going to happen anyway across the board. But if we could get him in January, he'd be ideal.
Ben,
it will be Dr. Pepper as the official drink that fills up from the bottom of the cup sponsor. Yay! Yeah, that's who I think. At this moment in time, I can only see Kulusevski signing on a permanent. But I'd love to get Milinkovic. I'd love to have Milinkovic as a centre half. We desperately
That's a good
need
show. Yeah.
a tall, imposing centre half that can head the ball. I would say Harry Maguire would probably be a possibility as well, whether you want him or not. I reckon he would actually do quite well at Tottenham away from the toxicity and the stigma of Man United. Look at all the players that have gone to Man United and now, shit. Jadon Sancho was one of the most exciting players in Europe, and now look at him.
You could say that about Spurs, though, too.
Yeah, you could, but English players do usually do quite well at Tottenham.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
So maybe Maguire might be an ace in the hole. I don't personally want a Maguire, but maybe he would do well. But I would say realistic is probably the Dr. Pepper drink, fill him up from the bottom, or someone like Milinkovic. Who would have thought?
So as I've been saying it on Twitter very, very regularly and as often as I can. I don't care about midfielders. I don't care about forwards. This window, it's all about defenders, and some more defenders. I really do like the guy. Me and Simeon were speaking. I can never pronounce his name right. The Ecuadorian, is it Hincape? Or how do you pronounce his name? He was playing in the World Cup. Hincape, Hincape, or whatever his name is. The Ecuadorian, he can play on the left in a back three or in a back two. He can also play at left back. I really like him. I really, really like him and think he could be a great signing. But I've been saying it for 3 years. I want Skriniar. I want Milan Skriniar at this football club so, so badly. And if we went and spent all our money on just getting Skriniar in and the window shuts just Skriniar, I'll be delighted. I'll be delighted. I won't be happy that we only brought one in, but I will be over the moon that the one player we brought in is a player that walks straight in.
Yeah.
You know his quality. It's not, let's wait and see, or we're building for the future. It's someone that comes in and makes a difference and makes an impact immediately. So I think Hincape, or I've got to know how to pronounce his name right. But we spoke about him a couple of days ago. But I really like the look of him. So I would like to see him. But I'm like Ben, and like we said last week, I actually think something is going to happen, like Kulusevski and another midfielder will come in. We won't address defence at all. And then we'll have to wait and see.
What about the Dr. Pepper, the bottomless drinks? What about that? I think that's possible.
That would be good. If they could do Iron Brew or Sprite, that would be brilliant for me. But on a selfish level, I could just see Daniel Levy implementing that, especially for me right now as he speaks. So that's what we'll have to wait and see what happens. But I'm sure we'll all be here January the 31st and February the 1st, having quite a lively discussion about what did and didn't happen in January. Okay, next one, Frank Last. If we sign one player, what position should it be, and who and why? Defender.
Yeah, centre back.
My answer.
Centre back. Milinkovic.
You agreed, Ireland?
Sorry, can you repeat that? I had to check something while you were talking.
If we only sign one player, what position should that be, and who and why?
I think that one player is a center half. I would go with a player like a Skriniar. I think there's other players that could come into the position and do something similar to what he offers. A big, powerful player that is going to allow us to move Dyer on and play a lot better out from the back, which is what we need, and also can just be a presence in the box defensively and offensively. Dyer is reasonably good defensively in the box, but incredibly terrible going forward in the box. We saw how many times he's missed free headers on a regular basis. We need a player that's going to give us a little bit more in that position, both for going forward and going backwards. So again, I like Skriniar as a player. I don't know enough about other players other than what we see in the Premier League that might be available for January, but it would be that position for me. I think the right wing back position is already sorted. I just think Conte's a stubborn prick and doesn't want to do anything about it.
Oh, what with Jed Bench?
Yeah,
Yeah.
just play the fucking kid, man. He's going to get there. He's good enough. He's got the qualities. He's playing our system perfectly. We don't the right wing back position, and also the way Doherty's played. He's got 4 goals in 3 games in the off season that we just had. I'm not saying that that's going to necessarily translate, but he's in good form. We have 2 players in that position in good form. Let them go, and then we've got Emerson Royale just in case. I guess.
He's good at doing dishes. But next question, we've got a super chat from Mr. Bob Spur TV with a humdinging question.
Oh, Bobby, thank you for the super chat. We appreciate the super chat.
Cheers, Superman.
Yes, he is asking, how many chickens would kill an elephant?
How many chickens would kill an elephant? I think you could probably kill an elephant with 1 chicken given the right circumstances. If an elephant is attempting to try to do something and he trips over the chicken and spikes his head into a branch and hits himself in the brain and dies, that could happen. So 1 chicken.
Wow, that was a very detailed kind of. Like you've actually thought of that question and you've come across that one before.
No, I just it's a way of thinking logically about something over and above just the question. It's not in a fight. It just says how many chickens does it take to kill an elephant? There's any circumstances could take place which would allow that to happen. So really, probably just 1, and maybe an egg.
But there you go. There you go. What are you saying, Ben?
I'm 114, the magic number. I think 114 chickens would overwhelm an elephant with their greatest power. It would be like the ghosts at the end of the Lord of the Rings when they took out that Oliphant at the Battle of Minas Tirith. So yes, 114 is the way to go.
Okay, I'm just for shits and giggles. I'll go pretty much. I'll just say 50, just for shits and giggles. That's the reason why. I'm just going to go for a magical number of 50. So thank you, Bob, for the super
Cheers,
chat.
Bob. We appreciate it.
Oh, Jesus.
Is the swallow a bird who doesn't deliver? Is the swallow a bird who doesn't deliver babies? So the stork is the female and the swallow is the male. Is that the question, Bob?
I have no idea.
I don't know how much sense this question makes compared to the last one. Despite it being ridiculous, at least it made sense. Bob, this one doesn't make sense. Can you elaborate on what the fuck you mean here, please?
The brilliant question, but I have no idea.
Thank you for the £2, by the way. The £2's great. Keep asking stupid questions and give us $2. We don't care.
Is there any more super chats, Ben, or we go back to the?
We've got 2 more super chats. One from Wolves FI. Big up, Wolvesy.
Big up, Wolvesy.
Thank you so much for the 2. If you've got a question, please send it to us. You haven't sent us a question. And Bob is now saying another $2, saying, is dyslexia just misunderstood? But
Bobby.
Yes, greatly. Greatly.
He's also misspelt it, and I think that's the intention. So
yeah.
Dyslexia is just as misunderstood as flip-flops. So yeah, is that the super chats done?
Yeah, that is the super chats.
Okay, amazing. So then we'll go back to a brother of ours, Amir. Can we win a trophy under Conte? I'll go very quickly. Can we? Yes. Will we? No.
Can we? Yes. Will we? Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to go fucking positive on this one, just because I feel like Conte cannot not win anything at a club. That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't go with the way things function in the world. So he has to, even if it's a FA Cup.
Yeah, tell that to Jose. Tell that to Jose.
Yeah, tell that to Jose.
I know, but we can't have it twice in a row, Bri. Can't have it twice in a row.
Or Martin Yole, or Harry Redknapp, or AVP, or Pochettino.
Can we move on from the sadness?
Yeah, Ben, what's your answer to the question?
It all depends on that bald man upstairs. If he gives the tools the manager needs, we will win something. It's whether he.
Oh, that would. Exactly.
It's that usual question. But big up, Amir. Thank you for the question. Next one is Jamie Pitt. Who will get rid of this chairman? Hello, gents. He will. That man.
I've not put my hand up for the question. I take on that role with I am the man fit for the
Who
job
will rid me of
with
the
the other
troublesome
people,
chairman?
not just myself, obviously. Yeah.
The only thing
Yeah.
that will rid anybody of the troublesome chairman is either he gets sick or there's enough money comes in from the right buyer that will be enough to even buy him out, even though like I think he wants to stay even if the club gets purchased. So we're kind of screwed until something terrible happens, which is an awful thing. I don't want to see anything terrible like that happen to anybody. Don't get me wrong, but that may be the case, sadly.
That's the thing. Listen, I think a lot's been said. Obviously, we're going to have to wait to see January. January, I think I know how it's going to go. I'm not saying it will go that way, but I've got a pretty good feeling that it will. And he will be his own worst enemy.
Mother of moly, bloody hell!
Okay, what's more? You had a moly.
£50 super chat from Mr. Andrew
Andrew,
Gregory.
brother.
Oh my goodness, Andrew! Wow! Thank you, mate. That's
Andrew, thank you so much, my man.
Wow.
Thank you so much, Andrew. You haven't
we'll make sure everybody on the channel gets a little piece of this in the Christmas/Hanukkah cheer. Appreciate that, Andrew. Very nice.
But thank you so much. Thank you so much, Andrew. So what was the end of your answer?
Yeah, no, I was just saying with this, he's going to be his own worst enemy, isn't he? If he doesn't back Conte and Conte does walk, should he walk? This is all. Then I think there will be a lot more people that will want to do something, and I don't even think bringing Poch back. Should he bring Poch back, which I don't think will happen. Fans surely will see through that. I really hope the fans see through that. If the worst happens and Conte goes, and it's because he's not backed and Kane doesn't sign a contract, and people still talk about the business side of things and everything, then there's no hope. There's absolutely no hope. But we shall have to wait and see. But,
lots of that. Lots of waiting and seeing.
As you know, I will be there doing anything and everything I can in the meantime. So we got that. So Raider. We've done this.
Before we ask this, another thank you to Andrew Gregory. It really does mean a lot to us. It really helps.
Yeah, I really appreciate that.
Really greatly appreciated.
Yeah, I think we answered this question, right?
Yeah, but I don't know if this is the thing with Radar. I don't know if he was there when we answered it because you don't know. So all I say, I think for the group, we want to see defenders or the defense strengthened. We've got the midfield,
particularly the center half position. I think.
Yeah. I'd rather. Let me rephrase this for you, Ben, a different way. Then, if you had the choice right now, I'm not going to tell you the players' names, but if you could realistically sign 2 centre backs or centre back and a right wing back, which one of the combinations are you choosing?
I would go with the two. I would go with the center back and the right wing back. I do, but I would also caveat that with having to sell some of the right wing backs we have because we have 3 of them, and then hopefully you could afford one that like a Hakimi that is at the highest level. You put a really, really good center half in the center of that position that we currently have. We have a very good 4 or 5 center halves at that point with a couple of guys we could get rid of. We step with a right wing back position. We still replace Kyle Walker. We need somebody to come in who can play at that level and that can, in a right wing back position that we currently don't have. Now we may have that in a Spence scenario, but as we know, if we want to win anything under Conte, as little time as he likes to give clubs when he's there, and you want to give him what he wants, he's not going to take the time for a young player like that to develop. He's going to want to bring in somebody who's going to come and do it. So I'd rather do that because I feel like keeping Conte would likely require us to bring in and make those positions what they need to be in order for us to function. I think we have enough with Romero, say Skriniar and Dyer, or maybe I think that we could also. Can we get 3? Can we change the question? I want 3. I want 2 center halves and a wing back. That's what I want.
There you go. So what did you say, Ben? You wanted 2
Benny, muted.
Oh, a realistic signing, the Dr. Pepper machine. Dr. Pepper machine. That's our realistic signing.
There you go. So yeah, I just want 2 centre backs. I think I don't want to see Dyer. I want to see real quality in there, so we don't have to worry if Dyer gets injured. Does Sanchez come in? If Sanchez is injured, does this one get? It's enough. I think we saw with Kulusevski. We were settling for Moore and Bergwijn who are here. When Kulusevski's up here, he raised everything and showed what we've been missing.
You got lucky with that though, Brian, because Kulusevski at Juventus was down here, you know, like in like what they thought of him. I think that probably had an influence on how good he is, because he's like, you know what, you guys don't think I'm that good. I'm going to go over to this other club here and I'm going to prove you wrong. And he stepped up his game. I think we got very lucky in that situation. I agree with you though, but we do need players that are at the level that Romero's at. If you watch Romero in that World Cup, he was Rolls Royce most of the time. He had some moments, but most of the time he was impeccable. And we need somebody who can play next to him that is also as good with the ball at his feet and can is tactically smart enough to manage the whole line, because that's what happens if you're in the center of that defense, is you have to be able to manage the entire line. So yeah, lots to be done there.
According to Kim, she says she has sent a super chat for £2, and apparently she says Eric Dyer is shit. So I don't know if she has sent a super chat, but I'm just going to say it anyway, just for Kim.
Yeah, she is Eric Dyer's #1 hater and proud, like I am with Levy. Kim, honestly, that man literally drives her absolutely nuts. And
I have a little bit of a. I like Eric Dyer. I don't like Eric Dyer as the stalwart defender that we need him to be. I like Eric Dyer and what he's done at Spurs, but I think it's time for him to move on. But I don't hate the guy. I think he's done some good things for the club, and he's had his moments. He scored Big K. You spent too much time. He scored the winner against West Ham in his first game at the club, and I was at the ground, so I have that memory in my head, and I enjoy that. But yeah, it's time to move him on. I think that's the thing. This is the thing, Brian. I'm sure, Ben, you spoke about it enough as well, is that we keep these players for too long when we realize that they're not good enough. We need to move them on. We need to move on. Like let's keep moving them on. That's a struggle, I think, that Spurs have had, and I think a lot of clubs have it, but Spurs in particular are struggling with it.
Yeah.
Bob, stop corrupting the show, okay?
Yeah, he sent another super chat saying, "What do you want to be when you grow up?"
I want to be a YouTuber. Oh wait,
what do I want to be when I grow up?
I don't want to grow up.
Yeah, that's good. That's the answer. That's the answer.
When I grow up, I want to be Paul Stewart.
Piss off, Bob.
When I grow up, I want to be a loudmouth. I want to be a loudmouth, Levy hating, crazy Tottenham fan that now lives in Canada. Dreams do come true.
Sort of. You got most of that right, except for living in Canada part. But
oh yeah.
Apparently,
it's okay. Kim can fire me if she wants. I don't mind.
All right. Cool.
Here we go. I think I'll go last with this question. Why don't our supporters protest like Manchester United or Arsenal against the owners? It seems like Levy and Enoch get a free pass from our support.
I'll go first on this. I think that the reasoning is that I don't think that there's a unification amongst our fans about the problem with the board. I think we've seen many of these channels, including this one, there's difference of opinion, and the difference of opinion is vast with the Spurs supporters, rather than it being a very specific. Here's the issue. Let's deal with it. Let's get everybody together as a unified source to protest. You have some people who don't care about the things that other people care about. I think it's just focus. I think that the Tottenham supporters are I think diverse, very diverse, and not just in who they are and where they're from, but as their opinions on what they care about when it comes to watching football. And I think that it's a hard one to galvanize.
Ben?
I think it might be just because of the demographic of our fan base. Our fan base are a more upper middle class fan base. I think Tottenham are the wealthiest of all the London clubs. fan bases. I think I heard that correctly from some people the other day. I think from Graham. I think our fans are just too comfortable. And because we haven't won anything really league title-wise since 1961, I think we're not used to winning.
We don't have anywhere to get back to, you know,
Yeah.
the glory we used to have. There's no
being-
memory of that, right? Yeah, that's a good shout, actually.
We're used to being the bridesmaid, so we're happy being the bridesmaid. But we need to, at some point, be the bride and be the one that's getting all the attention and all the looks. We need to get there at some point. So I think our fan base is just too comfortable. I think we're too comfortable in our own ways, and it's about time we started changing the mindset to winning or over just being silly and just going to football for watching football. We need to start. Maybe it's a style of football. Maybe we only go to football to be entertained and not to win. Maybe that's part of the Tottenham mentality, but it's because we're not ambitious. We haven't got an ambitious owner. We haven't had an ambitious owner since the 60s. And probably we won't have an ambitious owner for many, many years.
Yep. Right? You've been waiting, you've been holding back.
I've been thinking, I've got to be very careful with what I say here. I've got to be very, very careful what I say here. Right, so Arsenal and Manchester United, you look at, like Ben just alluded to, these are teams that have dominated the country, have dominated the sport, have been in Champions League 20 years in a row, have won the treble, have won 3 titles back to back, have gone from being, when Ferguson took over United, to being able to sign whoever they wanted. Arsene Wenger coming in, revolutionising football, and listen, they're serial winners. Manchester United protest. They get given Ronaldo, Sancho, Varane in one window. We get Emerson, and the people that came in that. It's night and day. These fans want success, crave success, and bleed for this football club or their football clubs. I'm not saying Spurs fans don't, but whereas they demand success and everything that they have grown up being accustomed to, we've become, but we have a good net spend. But we have a skywalk. But we can have 2 pitches. Whereas United want and Arsenal are used to success regularly, and they demand it and crave it. We crave it. There's no demand. Oh, we got top 4. Isn't that wonderful? We get to hear that music for a few months and then get kicked out and do whatever. Oh, yes, but don't worry. We have Lady Gaga come in and we have Anthony Joshua fighting. Yes, this is what I wanted from my football club. There's no commit. As long as they keep getting top 4, 1 trophy in 20. Do you know what? Strip everything that's gone away. 1 trophy in 22 years. If you're a manager at a football club and you deliver that, you're sacked. Way before 22 years. You look at Gareth Southgate starting at England. I can't believe England have kept him on. When you look at the stat that has said he's played the top 10 teams in the ranked teams 24 times, and we've won 4 times.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
How are you going to win tournaments? How are you going to get places if your record against these teams are shambolic? And what makes it worse now with us is I don't even care if people leave you out like I am, and like the people I hang about with or collaborate with or the YouTubers or whoever. I don't care if you're as that far leave you out as I am. No, not a lot of people are as to the extreme as I am. But it's coming to the point now where it's not even a case of what we're not doing. It's the case that Newcastle are here and they are going to spend. Liverpool and United are going to get taken over. And they are going to spend. Chelsea are already making moves. Arsenal, the filth will go again this January. And we're just in the rearview mirror. But it doesn't matter because we'll be challenging for top 4. And woohoo, that's what we need. So that's the difference. Whereas other teams that are protesting right now crave and demand success, we crave it. That's it. We don't demand.
Yeah, it's a
So
good
that's
show.
quite
Like,
Yeah.
that's quite
Before
dignified
we
for
go
me.
on to the next question, Frankers, I think, has called me out. OMG, have you been to N17? Yes, I've had a season ticket at Tottenham Hotspur Football Club for 25 years. Yes, I have been to N17. And you said you were from New Zealand earlier. Have you been to N17? Because there's an area called Tottenham Hale that's actually quite nice. And if you look at where most Tottenham fans come from, it's from Potter's Bar. It's from Chigwell, it's from Loughton, it's from Hoddesdon, it's from outside London. So yes, before you criticise whether I have been to North London or not, I've been a season ticket holder for 25 years. So I do know what I'm talking about here. But thank you for your comment.
gotta clear these things up sometimes, man. People make silly chats. All right, what do we got next there?
We're going. Firstly, Merry Christmas, everyone. Secondly, Levy out, Enoch out. Third, alert us when Levy out action is happening. Finally, favourite food on a Christmas dinner. Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah,
There's
for me,
a good one. What's your favourite part of Christmas dinner?
my favorite part of Christmas dinner isn't the specific dish; it's the things that go with it. It's the stuffing and the gravy. You can have smashed potatoes, you can have turkey, you can have ham, you can have anything, any protein on the plate. But if there's no stuffing and gravy, it's fucking useless.
Yeah.
So that's my favorite. And pumpkin pie for dessert.
Yeah.
Ben?
I think it's roast potatoes. Roast potatoes are the greatest thing that's ever been invented, especially if you combine it with Brian's answer. When you make your gravy, you let it sit aside and let the fat rise to the top, and then you take the fat off the gravy and you finish your roast potatoes in it. And then you have the best of both worlds, and then you've got everything. But roast potatoes are my favourite. Crispy on the outside, soft in the middle.
Like it.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I have to say, in my house, I'm my parents, we keep kosher, or my parents keep kosher. So when I'm out and about, pigs in blanket is just incredible. I will eat pigs. Everyone knows I'm as soon as I'm out of this house, I will eat whatever comes in front of me. Pigs in blanket are banging. But Ben, as you said, my mum, or you talked about roast potatoes. My mum does make, and this is official. And Bob Spur and Kim can actually vouch for them. Make the best roast potatoes in the world. My mother does. But also, I'm a big fan of stuffing. Huge fan of stuffing, and I'm also a huge fan of Brussels sprouts. And I'm a huge fan of Brussels sprouts. I can eat
Brussels sprouts are the grossest vegetable ever. Disgusting.
No,
absolutely
man,
disgusting.
I love
the smell of them makes me. The smell of them makes me literally makes me hurl. Like it's
just
vile. They're gross.
I love them. I absolutely love Brussels sprouts. It has to be said. So yeah, but pigs in blanket when I'm out of the house, without a doubt. Next, we got Frank Last again. I think with Gil, Papa, Spence, Skip, Benson, Kulu, Adoji, and Kane and Son, it's all there for Poch.
It's more of a statement than a question, but
I mean, it sort of is it all there for Poch if he came back to manage it. And I guess the idea is that the type of players that are there within that type of system that Poch likes to play. Sure, I guess, but he had really good players at the end of his last reign.
What does Poch's system need? 3 very youthful attackers.
No, what are you saying?
Not much different than what Conte's system is, really.
Kulusevski hasn't got the energy to press all game. Sonny is 30. Harry Kane is 30.
Yeah, I agree. But, no to Poch. Come on, let's move on. Or let's just back fucking Conte and win some shit. Let's stick with it. Why are we thinking about Poch?
I've got to say, I can see.
Goodbye.
Go on, Ben. Sorry.
I'm just saying goodbye to Frank because he insulted me. So cheers, Frank. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Oh, well, let's get his question off the screen. I missed it. I didn't even see what he said, but
I saw what he saw, so I'm just blocking him. So goodbye. But yeah.
Okay, so we'll go on to a very good friend of the channel. We'll go on to James Jorish. Big up, James.
What's up, James?
Favorite holiday song, movie, TV show. There's a lot to divulge there.
Christmas Vacation, best holiday movie, or Die Hard. Those are the two. You like. It depends on what your mood you're in, whether you feel like some action or whether you feel like a good comedy. But they're the two best holiday movies ever made. You could also arguably throw Scrooged in there with Bill Murray as a conversation in the conversation as well.
I think it's the Muppets Carol.
Ooh, the Muppets Christmas is a good one as well.
That's my favourite movie. I really holiday song. It's got to be Wizard for me. For me, Wizard is a really good. It's just a classic. But a TV show, very difficult. Very difficult.
Yeah, is there a TV show that is holiday related? Because it can't be, right? Like, there's episodes in TV shows that have been really good that were holiday related, but I can't think of a TV show that was like only during the holidays. Like, it doesn't make a heck of a lot of sense. Another one I forgot was A Christmas Story. A Christmas Story. You'll shoot your eye out, with the kid and the BB gun and stuff. That's a classic. I'm dating myself a little bit there. It's old.
So I'm going to go. Favorite holiday song? I don't really have a favorite holiday song, but I am one of these people, especially when I'm back home because they don't have the same advert in Canada. Is Christmas for me doesn't start until you see the Coca-Cola Christmas song, Christmas advert.
Oh yeah.
Holidays are coming. Holidays are coming. Every year I don't say I don't feel festive until I see that video advert on TV for the first time. Favorite Christmas. I have movies that I have to. I was talking to Ben about this week. I have movies that I have to watch every Christmas. One of them is Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, the original with Gene Wilder.
Yep, classic.
I also have to watch Love Actually. Have to. It's become like a tradition. TV show. Listen, I would always say this. You cannot be, and Brian's right. It's the seasonal ones, but you cannot, and they binge it on UK Gold now every Christmas, and everyone used to get round the TV in England to watch a certain Christmas show, called Only Fools and Horses. Yeah. One of the greatest TV shows.
Don't know it. I need to see it, but I've heard a lot. I've heard a lot about it, but I haven't actually watched it yet.
We've got to watch Ghostbusters with Daigle, and you've got to watch Only Fools and Horses. We've got to all do it one.
All right. I'm in.
Yeah, that we can do. That we can do. So yeah, Coca-Cola. I mean, I don't know how. There's a lot of people that are like me that are like, it's not Christmas until they see the Coca-Cola advert. So that would be the answer to that one. Bob Spurs come in with another classic. What's heavier, a ton of bricks or a ton of feathers? Yeah, Bob.
It's not same. A ton. It's a tinny. It's tinnies in a ton, and a ton is heavier than tinnies, so the ton is heavier. But the actual question he's probably referring to, which is it's a classic question, logical question: what's heavier, a ton of bricks or a ton of feathers? Well, a ton is a ton, and they're equal, so they're going to fall at the same rate if you drop them from a building. So I'm not sure what Bobby's trying to get at here with him. Again, destroying our stream here with his silly questions, but I love them.
He's loving it. He loves his silly questions.
I know. I'm just fucking.
He loves his silly questions. Here we go. You mentioned this before, Ben, from DJ Samuel. Would you take Maguire?
Personally,
what's your thoughts?
I can go first.
Go on, Ben.
Yeah, well, Harry Maguire. So, what's your lot's take on Harry Maguire? So, Harry Maguire is a good player for the England team under a system that requires him not to have to run a lot, and he's pretty good with the ball, and he can get forward and sometimes get his giant head on it. But what do I think of him at Spurs? Fuck no, please never have him at Spurs. He's basically like a shittier version of Eric Dyer, which tells you everything. Like, Eric Dyer is a far superior footballer, and Eric Dyer is not a great footballer when it comes to that position. So please God, no Harry Maguire for me. He's fucking useless.
That was a wonderful response, Brian. That was absolutely wonderful. Ben, go on, you were saying.
I think Harry Maguire is better than Eric Dyer, but I still don't want either of them. In the analogy of Bob Spur TV, just because I had a good shit yesterday doesn't change the fact what it is.
Still shit.
Yeah, it's still shit. So we need a proper defender. We need a proper centre back that's going to marshal a defence. And that's not what Harry Maguire is. He's not a leadership candidate because he shows how poor he is as a leader at Manchester United, whether it's a toxic club or not. But we need a proper defender.
He can't get off the bench. He can't even get on. He can't get it off their bench at a United side that he was their captain. I mean, why would we take that into our club? That's like the last fucking thing we need. Go on, Brian. Sorry.
Yeah, for me, Harry Maguire, I spoke about this yesterday on the Irish Hotspurs channel. Not a goddamn chance. A partnership. Let's say Romero and Longley are injured. The thought of a Sanchez, Dyer, Maguire back three,
oh God,
is enough to send me back to alcohol. There is absolutely, and like I was saying with the Kulusevski side, I don't want to buy players that have been so bad for their club, do okay for England, but then you look at you look at Harry Maguire. He was at fault for France's second goal. He should have been on Giroud. He should have been marking
the ball away a bunch of times. That no, like he was just he's not a good player.
Because do you know what this used to be like when Manchester United, we spoke about Manchester United and their fans and the protesting back in the day when Manchester United were trying to get rid of a Jaap Stam, a Vidic, a Ronnie Johnson, players of that ilk. If they were at the end and they were available, sign them up, bring them to stop. They instantly make a difference. Harry Maguire can't get into the Manchester United team that has been struggling to defend. That's all you need to know. That's all you need to know. Why? I don't get why we do it. Oh, because he's cheap. He was 80. We'd probably get him for 30 or something. That's 30 million too much. That could have gone on getting a Skriniar or putting it towards getting a Maddison if you are going for Maddison or the right wing back. Don't spend 30 million on Maguire just because it's Maguire and it's cheap. You're going to have the same problem like we did for right wing backs.
Yeah. Before we move on to the next question, I just want to address Wolvesfee real quick here. Wolvesfee, I went through the list of questions. There was nothing that said at TOT or at either any one of us three to answer your question. If you could do that and you want your question answered, please do. We'd absolutely answer a question about Wolves if we have any input for you. Just didn't see anything that looked like a question from you, but please add it if you can, because we'd absolutely love to answer it.
Yeah, definitely Wolves. But make sure you put that at TOT. We normally pin it at the top, but we forgot to do that today. Put that at TOT and it will get answered regardless. Next one from Eugene, who's left out half a question. I don't know if that's at Tottenham on Tour. Big up, Eugene, by the way. Can we win anything under? And then
I think under Levy is what he's essentially saying there. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yes, but not likely. But I'm gonna say yes anyway because I think the rest, everybody else is better than him, and so that may be for somehow we might get past it, but probably not. But I'm gonna say yes because I'm gonna try to be as positive as possible.
This is the thing I love. Do you know what? When I first met Brian, he was so positive everything, and then by about 6-7 months, like, oh fuck.
Well, I mean, it wears me down, but I try to stay with it. I try to stay positive because I want to enjoy football for football reasons, but you know, it's sometimes you have to be honest about what's actually going on, and you're not going to enjoy the football if the football isn't being treated the way it needs to be. So I get it.
Yeah, there you go. So here we go. Next one. Active on Wembley. Another question. What fraudulent elements are going on with the murky stadium? Oh, here we go. Yeah, the stadium naming rights. I
mean, fraudulent elements. I don't know if there's anything fraudulent going on. I mean, that's a bit of a strange claim to make, but it certainly seems to me like they're not being honest with us. If that's what you mean by fraudulent elements, I would agree with that because it is murky. No idea. Hard question to answer, guys. I don't know what we'd say about something that we have very little understanding of how these things work and very little insight from the club or from anybody involved that they might share with us what's actually going on, because it's absurd that it's still going on. I don't get it. I mean, if it comes down to eventually getting the massive amount of money, billions of dollars that's going to be invested in the club, and somehow that happens, which is not likely, then maybe it's worth waiting for it. But right now we could use the money. We could use the money to invest in the squad. We could use the money to, to do a lot of different things that would be good for the team, and we're not taking advantage of that opportunity. That's the disappointing part of it.
Ben,
what for? It's Levy looking for a better deal because of he wants the best deal possible, which means the best ever, and that's never going to happen. It's the cost of living crisis at the moment, and all the problems going on with sponsors at the moment. But he wants the most money. He wants the biggest this. He wants the best manager. He wants the best of the best of the best of the best. But he's not providing it on the pitch. So who's going to sponsor the stadium for not a good football team at the moment? He wants too much. He wants too much money for the stadium deal. I think what was the last one quoted at 25 million, something like that a year? Something I can't remember what it was. But
it was absurd.
Too much money as usual. It's the same thing. He wants too much money for Harry Winkses, for Eric Dyers, for this player, for that. He's asking too much money, which is the fraudulent element. If we just got the deal, we'd be earning the money. We don't be earning the money. We'd be earning slightly less, but the money would be in our pocket. That's the problem. He wants the best of the best.
Yep. I think what I'll add on to that as well. What makes this highly embarrassing is every single club that moves into a ground has naming rights sorted within a year. But nine times out of 10, they move into the stadium and it's already named. They've had just as long to sort this out. And then what they have done is they've brought in a guy who has brokered some of the biggest deals in American naming rights history of stadiums. And they bring him in to do the job, to get the naming rights, find out. And you look at it, and Stel was saying this on a stream the other day. He was saying, if you look at it, we hire people to do jobs at the club, but they're not allowed to do what they're told. It's like, you're the manager of the club, you run the football, and you deal with the football team aspect. He gets undermined, and it goes. And now you look at it, you've brought in someone to deliver naming rights. His number one thing, Klein, is the Dallas Cowboys, the Miami Dolphins. He's brokered all those deals and got them. Come to Tottenham. He's been here, I think, 18 months, 2 years now. He has got the easiest job in the world.
Yeah.
Take like the whatever salary he is, 750 grand or whatever it is a year, and just mention names to Daniel Levy, because he'll say no, because it's just stupid. Barcelona and Real Madrid have got the naming rights for their stadium. They haven't even built it yet. I know it's a completely different kettle of fish when you're talking Barcelona and Real Madrid, but we're Tottenham Hotspur. We do have a history. We are a big football club. We have the biggest, or one of the best, if not the best stadium in world football. In the entertainment industry. Someone wants to have the naming rights there, but obviously, like we said, they're just not paying. They're not paying the price, and then we've got this client guy just sitting there doing nothing. Yeah. But we shall see. It'll be another deal. Don't worry. We'll get announced that we're going to be taken over again by another naming rights, and then God knows what sponsorship will bring.
Elon Musk will be next. Elon Musk will be next. Yeah. Twitter is going to take over. The shit show that is Twitter.
Oh Jesus! Here comes Jacob. Jacob, big up with his Adama Traore love. Tottenham on tour. Do win treble or quad by signing Adama? Yeah.
No.
Okay.
No. I think we're going to win the septuple.
Well,
Traore really? He barely even gets on. He barely even gets on Wolves' friggin' bench.
Yeah, he has an obsession with him, like I do the Rock. Jacob has one for Adama Traore. I'll tell you what, if we get linked with him again this window, I'm going to go absolutely batshit crazy. Zach Robinson, big up Zach. Todd, who would you like to replace Lloris? I've been very adamant with my number one choice, but I've actually got a number two choice as well now. I might as well go first. I want Dean Henderson, big time. I want Dean Henderson.
Yeah.
It's the first time I've said it without saying Jordan Henderson, so I'm making progress. Dean Henderson. But I also really like I really like the Brighton goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Really like him. So it's one of those two for me.
Yeah.
I could go with either of those two. I think they're both good, and they're both obviously playing in the Premier League, which matters. There were some keepers that stood out in the World Cup that were interesting to see if they could sort of do that in the Premier League as well. The Morocco keeper who made some ridiculous saves, and I know that he probably plays in a league, and international football isn't the same as the Prem, but it'd be interesting to see if some of those players end up getting picked up by Premier League clubs over the course of the January window, because some of them stood out, some of them were like very good. But yeah, I would want to go with a keeper that's played in this league, because I do think it's specific across the board in any position. And I do like Dean Henderson. What's Brighton's keeper's name again? Sanchez, yeah, he's good as well. I don't know enough names. You just say bring bangers, Zach. I apologize, I don't have any bangers for you. Maybe you could name a few bangers.
Banners.
Oh, banners. They said bring bangers. Bring banners.
Would you take Martinez from Aston Villa, the Argentinian goalkeeper?
Yes. As much as the shit man, he's a fucking nut job, but he's a really good keeper. I would take him. I think he's so go ahead, Brian.
No, sorry, I didn't. My internet's lagging a bit. So no, you finish with what you were saying.
Yeah, Emi Martinez is an incredible shot stopper. His shithousery is like a level of like no others, and I like that. And I as much as you like it when he plays for your own team, when he plays for another team, it's awful. But his statistics are very good. He's been very good at Villa. He was very good at the Scum as well. So he's had a pretty good career as a professional at a high level, and of course has just won a World Cup. So. Yeah, I would take him. I think he's probably one of the better ones in the world right now when it comes to form. Not necessarily long term, but certainly in a form conversation, he's been very good.
All good. I agree with Brian. Dean Henderson is a quality goalkeeper. He just needs to be at a bigger club that maybe isn't someone like a Manchester United. It's another quality player not doing well at Man United. But I think Dean Henderson is a great goalkeeper for us. He's better penalty saving than Lloris. He's got better distribution. It's whether he's a better shot stopper than Lloris. And our goalkeeper faces a lot of shots with our defence. So maybe we need an awesome shot stopper.
I think as past it as Lloris is starting to become, you saw a little bit of what he's not great at in the World Cup. He is still one of the best shot stoppers in the world. It's hard to argue that. It's incredible what he's able to do in those situations, but is it enough when it comes to what a modern keeper needs to be doing when ball at the feet and their ability to pass it out and then owning your box a little bit? I think that's something that he also struggles with, is size wise. He's just not a big guy. He's a bit slight for a keeper, and he's not super tall. He's like 6'2", I think, or 6'3", so short for a keeper and not big physically. And I think in this league you do need that. So I think that's where sadly Lloris starts all of those things that are problematic with him are showing more, because as he gets older, he gets a little bit slower, a little bit worse with the things that he's bad at, and they stick out quite a bit more. So yeah, sad, but time to go, Hugo. But I'd love to see him stay as a coach. I think he's be brilliant as a coach for sure. And he's been a great servant to the club to stay as long as he has and put up with all the different shenanigans that go on at our club is impressive.
Correct. Yeah. So next one is is from Pyrex King, who is an Arsenal fan, but he's a great guy, and I see him in a lot of the channels now. So welcome, Pyrex, my man. Brian, mate, for you and Ben, and I think this was for both Brians. Which game made you guys George Graham out? I'll go last for this one. So Ben or Brian, who wants to take it away?
I don't know enough about this, to be honest, with my lack of being able to follow the club at the time. So I'll let you guys answer it.
Okay.
I was free when George Graham was sacked, so I don't think
this is a Brian question.
I don't think I had any opinion towards
Ben and I are useless here, so Brian, you answer it.
Yeah, so answer Pyrex. I was never ever George Graham out, ever. Yes, he came with Arsenal heritage, Arsenal roots, and that what it took a long time to go for him to. He didn't even really win over the fans, but what he did do is bring a trophy to the club. What he did do was building something. When the parasite came in and bought the club, the first thing he tried to do was sack the devil and hire God as in Hoddle to make it a good. This is what I'm doing as my first act as Tottenham chairman. And it was funny enough. Who would have thought he sacked someone just before a semi-final of an FA Cup? So he got rid of Jules Graham to bring in Glenn Hoddle. And when you've got an FA Cup semi-final against Arsenal of all people, I would have loved Jules Graham to have that game. I'd have loved Jules Graham to stick around. Hoddle was always going to come back. As soon as Hoddle was alerted that Tottenham were after him, he was always going to leave Southampton. So that part was out of control. But I was never, ever, ever Jules Graham out. Never, ever Jules Graham out. He won us a trophy for crying out loud. Not a lot of managers can say that in our recent history. So yeah, I was not Jules Graham out.
Actually, no, I would have been 5. And maybe 5-year-old me would have had something to say.
Probably not.
There you go. So now you've got that added 2 years of knowledge. Well, what's your thoughts, Ben?
I don't know. I was 5. I don't remember what I did yesterday. Let alone what I did when I was 5.
Rightio. So we have got Wolves fees chatting about can Wolves win in the League Cup, the first major trophy since 1980. Though we have plenty of all kind of lower league trophies since then. Okay, so first major trophy. What were your thoughts on Wolves being able to win it? Did Man U go through yesterday?
I didn't.
I don't know who went through yesterday.
Man United.
Can Wolves win? I think anybody can win the League Cup. If City aren't around. If City are around, then no. It's City's tournament, right?
Yes, Man United won 2-0 yesterday.
Okay, so from what I remember, you've got Newcastle in there, you've got Leicester in there, you've got listen, they can on their data. And you know what? Wolves have now got that new manager coming in, haven't they?
Yeah.
Who knows how to run a football club? So yeah, exactly. Thank you for saying that, Ben, because I was absolutely having no chance of me trying to say that name without butchering it. What do you know what? It'd be nice to see someone like Wolves, and I don't mean in a patronising way. Wolves, it's nice to see that it's nice. I mean, we've just got out of this cup ridiculously, losing to Forest. It's always good to see different teams winning these trophies, not the same monopoly every single time. So you stand every chance, my friend, and I hope you do.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind seeing it.
Great stuff.
Just to FYI, I think if we could, even though we might get more questions in, we're going to save them. If we want to save them for the next time, we're almost a couple hours in, and I got to eat lunch. I haven't had lunch yet, so if we can keep it. We've got I think 4 questions left, including the one that's up, so 3 questions in total. We'll cut it off at that.
There we go. That sounds good to me because I've got to have dinner as well. Do we prioritise a centre back or right back during the January window? I mean, I don't know if you heard. For me,
we kind of answered this question.
Centre backs, yeah.
Centre back.
Let's get rid of this one. Radar. Would you sign Ndika from Frankfurt, as I know his contract is expiring?
Good player.
What do you guys? Player.
I mean, we saw him during the World Cup. I think he came in played a little bit for France. Good player, value probably affordable to some extent. I think he's probably worth around 25-30 million or something like that. I don't know if he's good enough. Like, I think he would be like another Sanchez. He wouldn't be a player that would come in and dominate, which is what we need. I think it's not. It's a bit part center half, not a center half that's going to come in and dominate. So no, I wouldn't take him unless he was next to a Skriniar or somebody who was also doing that, and we need fresh blood. And in that case, I'd say yes, but not as the the one center half that I think we all agree we at least need one, but two would be great. If he was the second of the two, then sure, but not the first.
I totally agree with Ireland. I think we need a central centre back, a Milinkovic, a Skriniar,
a captain centre half.
A leader in the centre of the defence. Ndicka is a brilliant player. He's brilliant on the ball. He's great in the air, but he's not a central centre back. We need one of those in the middle that's going to do what Bentancur does in midfield and sort of marshal the back line and link the ball. So it has to be a central player. Ndicka is mostly on the left side of a back three or even a back two.
Yeah, he would essentially come in for the French. What's the French guys there? What's our Longley? Yeah, thank you, brain fart. He would come in for him if that loan didn't get extended or we didn't bring him in permanently. He would be a good player to bring for that in that position, but still not the center half we need.
Great stuff.
There we go. I do like Ndicka. I do like him, but like I said, like you guys said, I think the most important thing is the centre back, and then you know what you're dealing with. You're going to have the right centre back. We know is Romero. You need that dominating powerhouse in the centre, and then you say, right, we've got this in this position, that in that position. What's going to complement that best? And then you go there. But if Ndicka was about on a free at the end of the year, I would take him. I would take him.
Back him up.
So we got two questions. First one, Stuart, from Stuart 727. Is it bagel or bagel?
I think he's making fun of your name because he spelled it like bagel.
It could be. It depends. If you want to call me a traveller in a Canadian news network, then it's bagel with an A. But no, everyone knows the spelling of my
bagel with
surname.
an E. So it's the first one. It's Beigel with an E at the end. So it's Beigel. Beigel. Tripping myself over. Beigel.
There you go.
Beigel.
Yeah, shit question. Let's move on.
Yeah.
And the final question. It's not even a question. This is the guy I was saying. This is the guy I was trying to say his name. The Ecuadorian. I would take this man in a heartbeat. In an absolute heartbeat, I would take this man without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah.
I don't know enough about him. So he's a center half, obviously. What internationally? Who does he play for?
Ecuador.
Bayer Leverkusen in Ecuador.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know anything about him, but I'll trust you guys, and if he's good enough to, is it like leadership qualities? He can speak English. Like those things are going to matter in
he's
a
very
Spurs
good on the ball. He's a very good. He's almost like Martinez at Man United, but I think he's a much better player. He's a more polished player than Martinez is at Man United. I think he's tall. I think he's like 6'2", I think, possibly.
Oh, Zar is Ecuadorian. He's one of his favorite players, apparently. Sorry, Zar, I apologize. I didn't see your slide beside your name.
He's a very good player. He would be a massive upgrade on Davis and Longley as a left centre back for me. I think he would be a brilliant player for us, and he's used to a aggressive style of football playing in Germany. He'd be a good player.
Is he available? Do we know? Because maybe Zar knows that. I mean, it sounds like the type of player that we're looking for. So
yeah.
There's one more question here. There's a couple that keep coming in, but we'll answer them, even though that I need to go. But this will be it. At Tottenham, who thinks we actually buy anyone in January? Well, Tom, none of us do.
Yeah, and also Pyrex is another one as well. Amrabat Højbjerg.
This is the last question.
Yeah. Amrabat.
Go ahead.
For years, but they had a brilliant World Cup.
Yeah, he was brilliant in the World Cup. He looked fantastic. A lot of that sometimes comes down to the whole team, getting together and all of them played at a level they'd never played at before to get to where they got to. Does he do that in a club scenario? He hasn't yet. Højbjerg for me is a better player and reliable as hell for Spurs. He's not absolutely fantastic, but he is reliable, and I think that's something that you need in that midfield destroyer position. So for me, it's Højbjerg.
Yeah, I agree.
Hands down, everyone knows my feelings on this channel about Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. I absolutely love that guy. Amrabat had a very, very good World Cup, but you're talking about 6 games. of football, where you shine, and this is the place where you go to shine, to get your moves and do to represent your country. And then we've seen what happens where sometimes these great World Cup players come to whatever, not just Tottenham, and it don't work because they can't recapture that form. So for me, Højbjerg every single time. And I think that does wrap it up, doesn't it, for the Christmas edition of Ask Us Anything?
It does. It does, and I don't think we'll be back. I won't be back until January 13th, folks. I'm going on vacation to Colombia with a bunch of friends. It's gonna be a ton of fun. Supposed to do it last year, actually getting to go this year. So I think our plan is, I mean, you guys, if you guys want to do a show early January, obviously you may do that before I get back.
Yeah.
But we're looking forward to the new year and getting more consistent again. We've been consistent with this show for the most part, other than last week. So we thanks for your support for that, and look forward to some of the shows that we were doing last season coming back, or earlier this year, I should say, coming back in the Straight Outta Conte. We're going to start doing again, and we're going to try to get consistent with that, and then we'll start to build on top of those when we're able to. But appreciate everybody's support, and I'm glad. It's nice to be back. Thanks for having me again, guys. You know, it's been a while, but it's nice to chat. Yeah, it's our channel, guys. But it's nice to be back and to hang with you guys and to answer the folks' questions. So I look forward to next year and getting this channel rolling again.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you to everyone for the super chats.
It
really helps us a lot. Thank you for everyone for being nice people and just being nice guys. And yeah, it's brilliant. And take it away, Brian. Take it away.
So first of all, I want to wish everybody and their families a very, very happy holidays.
Of course.
Whatever holiday you're celebrating, whatever faith you are, enjoy it. Have fun. Be with your loved ones. Have a very, very happy and healthy new year. And as always, Levy out.
Tottenham On Tour.